Hello and welcome everyone, a new episode of Money Means Business. You know, today's episode we were about to speak about the latest here in Egypt and about Egypt unveiling Digital Egypt strategy with the 5G launch and stuff like that. But of course we cannot be that much separated from the whole world and from what's going on around us. And with the Israeli strikes on Iran, a lot happened in the past 48 hours. When you go to the stock markets, when you go to the prices of oil, of gas, of even gold, you are gonna find a lot. And the scary thing here that we are not done with for example, the Russian-Ukrainian conflict and the supply chains with the food prices and all stuff like that, and the energy issues were already there suffering. What is going to happen nowadays with the current situation, with the Israeli aggression? And here we are going to focus, of course, on the economic side of the coin and also on technology. Are we still thinking about traditional war, or now technology, unfortunately, made it easier? With just some buttons we can launch a war against another nation? Well, all these questions are going to be answered today in our episode, as we do have a very special guest, engineer Mohamed Azzam, board member of the International Association of Management of Technology. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and I hope that it's going to be a good evening and we are going to hear some good news.
Thank you so much. Always pleasure and honor being with you, and of course hopefully we'll have some good news eventually when the people or the humankind realize this peace is the only way to live together and to build
listen to the voice of reason. Sir, let's go from the general to the specific, and let's explain this in a very simple way to the layman in the street. As we talk about wars, until the moment we think about tanks and about artillery fire and about weapons and stuff like that. But with scientists like you, we think about only buttons. And we see now that the very negative side of technology is the use of technology in wars. Tell me more about this.
Thank you for this question. And actually always technology is behind wars all the time.
Oh.
It has started actually in the First World War back in 1914, almost more than a century now. And the first global war was actually the first high-tech war. We witnessed so many technologies that was totally employed within the tactics and within the warfare and on the battlefield, that include tanks, submarines, airplanes, aircrafts, and so on and so forth. And of course the birth of artificial intelligence was due to the Second World War, when Alan Turing with his machine tried to emulate the human intelligence to break the code of Nazi, and actually this was an inflection point during the course of the Second World War, when the Allied forces succeeded to break the code of the Nazi and were able to win the Battle of the Atlantic. And because of that we were able to have the foundation of artificial intelligence that we are seeing today. Also during the Second World War the birth of computers actually was due to the or having what's called Manhattan Project, to have a large computer to do the calculations for the nuclear bomb. And this paved the way for the third industrial revolution that started at the end of the Second World War. So technology is always there. Of course
but today the case is even more complicated. And here we speak about hacking. And to hack a sensitive site, for example, to cover what I am doing beneath, this is an issue. Despite the fact that our sky now is filled with satellites and it's now that open in front of us, but still there are ways to manipulate. And as far as I remember, there was a very let's say famous operation which took place in one of the nuclear sites in Iran itself, and the high the hacking was from deep inside. And this is the way now the rivals are talking to each other. You did that, I am going to do that. And this is the issue we are suffering from. How this is now implemented on the ground with the Israeli attacks on Iran?
Actually, we witnessed this starting heavily, starting from the Ukraine war in March 2020 or February 2022.
February 2022.
Actually, we are living in an era of connected systems. We are too much dependent on systems, computers. When it comes to our financial system, our public service system, our healthcare system, and so on and so forth. So we are totally dependent on having such computer system, having such a connectivity. We are living in a connected world, and we cannot go back again to what's before, or without having this kind of connectivity. Actually, we could live in a stone age again. So cybersecurity is becoming part of the top actually tools in the 21st century warfare. And we've seen that during the Russian invasion to Ukraine, actually back in 2022, and witnessed this during the aggression of Israeli forces on Gaza and on Lebanon, and we witnessed how they were able to
assassinate the commanders of Hezbollah.
And of course,
but this was with very primitive ideas and with very primitive mobile phones.
Actually, what's the pager strike? Actually, it was one. Actually, it was the first to use everyday device to weaponize such a device. And of course, this was very sophisticated process, an operation, because it involved also the compromising the supply chain of such devices, and this raised another concern about how we can protect our supply chain from such compromises in the near future.
Is this possible?
Of course it's possible, but actually this pager attack, or this operation, of course the device was quite primitive, and the networks using such devices are quite primitive. You cannot compare it to what we are seeing today, like the 4G or the 5G, or even the very sophisticated telecom system. We are witnessing low orbit satellite, we are witnessing industrial Wi-Fi's. They are more secured, of course, but however, using such device as everyday device to become a weapon, this was very critical, something that we need to consider, because it's becoming part of our 21st century war. And of course the manipulation of and the massive cyber attacks on the infrastructure, that including the healthcare systems.
This is it. This is another issue which I'm going to go into details. And since you mentioned the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, of course, engineer Azzam was speaking about a video which was aired, and it was made purely by artificial intelligence, showing Zelensky asking his men to withdraw. And this was not true at all, and this was not Zelensky. This was made by artificial intelligence, and this was one of the tricks, one of the ways of the Russian side to be able to go forward, to continue with massive victories in the start of the war. But sir, let me put my question in other words.
Please.
Did technology make launching war easier?
Definitely. Definitely, because you have the sophistication of the technologies that we are witnessing today is totally different. The landscape is totally different. You mentioned the cyber attack on the Ukrainian infrastructure, including banks, healthcare system, transportation system, and there's now a term we are calling this weaponization of information. We are weaponizing information. Manipulation of public opinion by targeted social engineered campaigns using a lot of technologies and a lot of techniques that including the deep fake videos, the deep fake audios, the fabrication of news, the misinformation, the disinformation. This is becoming actually part of our 21st century warfare. This one aspect. Another aspect that we are now witnessing the beginning of what's called lethal autonomous weapon systems, unmanned vehicles, unmanned armory that's capable to take decision even without coming back to or without the intervention of human beings. And this will raise another ethical concerns. The decision should be, in such very critical situation, should be made by humans for the to hold people accountable for the decisions. Now the machines, the lethal autonomous weapon system now is capable of taking decisions without even the human intervention.
And I think this is going to raise another very big dilemma. I mean, it's when a machine decided to kill, who is going to be punished? The one who invented the machine or the machine itself? I mean, here some legal issues should be amended, and until the moment I don't know how they are going to deal with that. But sir, let me focus on what's going on today and speaking a little bit about the repercussions. We are going to go particularly to the infrastructure issue because for me this is even more important than anything else. But the oil market, the gold market, the supply chain, the food prices, I think all this is really, all these issues are really suffering. And in only 48 hours we found this jump in the prices of all the commodities and services I mentioned. How do you see this? And how do you see also the way with which the international community should deal with what's going on? As for example, there was a UN Security Council meeting, and there are today phone calls between the world leaders, and of course here in Egypt President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had a phone call with his Turkish counterpart, in addition to our top diplomat with his counterparts. Tell me.
We are living an era of uncertainty since 2020. Actually, it started with the outbreak of coronavirus, followed by the Ukraine war, followed by aggression on Gaza, followed by aggression on Lebanon, followed by the current war between Israel and Iran. And of course, during such era of uncertainty, everything is ambiguous. So we witnessed a lot of disruption when it comes to the supply chain and everything, from the raw materials, from the food, from the major equipment that was required for improving the industrial sector or the agriculture sector. So we witnessed a real disruption to the supply chain. That's why also technology is now we are thinking of having what's called self-thinking supply chain ecosystem, to be able to have an agile system that is capable with the unprecedented series of events and the consequences of such events, that including wars, including global pandemic, including local tension, and especially in such areas that is very important to the global trade, which the Middle East is actually the main path for example, the Suez Canal is responsible for 30% of the global trade. So if you are disrupting all this, of course, this will increase the ambiguity, this will increase the uncertainty, and of course, the markets are always very sensitive to such disruption. And I would say with this current escalation of tension between Israel and Iran, this will lead to another wave of
you know, yesterday there was
actually,
an important meeting between Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati received his German counterpart Johann Vadofil. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. And he mentioned in specific the issue about the Suez Canal and the navigation route, and how it's very important to continue with efforts exerted to protect the navigation route, as you've kindly mentioned, as it's a very vital connection between the whole world, the east and the west, the north and the south. But sir, let me read this because this was written in many of the news agencies between lines. If the Israel-Iran confrontation widens further, its economic effects could resemble those of Russian-Ukraine invasion, which caused a spike in energy prices. Here the energy prices came. That shock also exacerbated pre-existing global supply disruptions from the COVID-19 pandemic reopening, meaning that also the analysts and the experts are saying what we have just said regarding the negative impacts or repercussions on the whole world, not only on a specific area or a specific region. Agree with that?
Definitely. Actually, I published a paper almost 2 years ago about how the technology could play a critical role for regaining or having a sort of agile global economy in post-crisis era, actually, because we witnessed so many crises during the last 5 years. So that's why this is the role of technology for making our economy on the national level, on the regional level, and of course on the global level more resilient, more agile, to absorb shocks, to be ready for this unforeseen circumstances. That's why technology again if we manage it in a proper way, because technology needs to be managed in a proper way, this could be another savior for
technology
the whole
is the broad spectrum field. But here I want to talk about two issues. Social engineering. How social engineering can be a double-sister weapon in a way that it can destroy whole societies and whole communities, and how to protect ourselves from that.
Social engineering has been used for years now, especially with we are talking here about like 5 billion people using social media platforms, and we are spending on average 8 hours per day on social media. And of course, being on the social media, I can have a full picture, a full footprint of what you are doing, how do you think, what you are seeing, what you are what pulls attracted to, what you are focusing on, what you are searching, what you are typing, and not posting it. So this could be totally analyzed, and based on that I can have a profile for you and decide in which way I can manipulate the public opinion, and of course add to this the techniques for having the misinformation, the engineered misinformation, and the engineered disinformation is becoming engineered as well. Rumors are not becoming something that
it's a weapon.
Actually, it's and a weapon in the era of infodemic, because we are living in an era of infodemic. We are seeing or are living in within 150 zettabytes of information. This 100 times 10 to the power 21 of bytes, like trillion, billion gigabytes, something huge. And the machines are now capable to understand and to deal with such vast amount of data. So, of course, social engineering or engineering or weaponizing the information is becoming also one of the weapons that we are witnessing or we are suffering. The silent weapon that could actually...
It's not silent anymore, but sir, here what you're telling me is will take me back to this slogan: you have data, you have the world.
Definitely.
Simply. And many people are going to say, oh, it's our fault, we have given them the data. Is it still that our fault that we have given them the data, or already now even they do not need us to give them the data is theirs in the first place?
The data is there, and once I'm connected, I'm totally exposed. And they can analyze my behavior, my way of thinking, what I'm seeing, what I'm not seeing, what I'm searching for, what I'm not searching for. My network of friends on the social media, how I'm interacting with people, how people are interacting with me, and the data is there. They have my personal data, the most detailed data about my life, the locations I'm visiting, the way I'm consuming my social media platform, my accounts on the social media, what I'm posting, what I'm not interacting with, what I'm thinking of while reading something, or what if I stay on a post for a longer time, that means this kind of posts are of interest to me. If I'm just
if you want to go to the gym, for example, you are going to find ads for all the gyms around you, and this is not magic. This is social media, this is social engineering, this is AI, you name it. Sir, I'd like to return back to the issue of the infrastructure and services in specific. You know, only with hacking the websites of the Ministry of Health, for example, or the notary house, and we listen to, oh, we cannot deal with the system, wait for a while, and many people would think that, oh, this is the bureaucracy, but no, this is a way to make the citizen lose confidence in the government or the state, or how the state is managing the country. And this is one of the ways to penetrate, let me call it this way, the society, and fill them with frustration, with negative feelings, with a will even to do anything to get rid of those executives and get other ones. This is also part and parcel of the new generation of wars. If you want to elaborate on that, please.
Definitely, this is how we can, using the technology or having or using the information as a weapon. And of course, with such techniques, and the techniques, the problem here, the democratization of technology itself. The techniques were only available for states, for governmental agencies. Now I can make a deep fake video for anyone, and will never, the cost will never exceed $10. And within 1 hour I can have very hard to distinguish, or very hard to prove that is a fake video within 1 hour, and I'm paying very peanuts for the tools. This is another problem of the democratization of technology, the democratization of knowledge. That's giving power for not even the governmental agencies, but also to people who could use such tools to hurt others, intentionally or unintentionally, as part of organized crime, or just being a sort of bullying. So things are becoming...
It can reach the presidential elections. Pelosi left the presidential elections with a video. In a way, we can implement what we have just said on many levels, and approximately on all levels. But is there a way just to at least benefit from what's going on around us, and to make sure that we are going to be a little bit safe, maintain our safety and security, and make sure that we are going side by side with the very developed countries in this domain?
If you look at the latest report issued by the UN, actually Egypt is becoming on the top 12 countries when it comes to cybersecurity. Our rank, like last year, I would say like 24, and this year we're becoming on the 12th rank as one of the top tier countries having a strategy for cybersecurity, implementing cybersecurity, having very agile, very resilient, very up-to-date infrastructure. That's why it's very important to keep your infrastructure up to date all the time. We are just witnessing the 5G mobile networks, and if there will be another technology more reliable, more secure, definitely we're going to invest again and to keep our infrastructure or our ICT infrastructure agile, resilient, up to date. It's very important actually for the resilience and for the agility of the whole economy and society. And we are investing in technologies when it comes to cybersecurity. We are helping our startups working in the cybersecurity and even implementing their innovation within.
Sir, I'm not pessimistic, but I'd like to focus on what you have just said. Would you please elaborate? Because I want my viewer to know that being all the time acquainted with the newest advanced technologies in cybersecurity in specific, it's not a luxury anymore. It's something which is a must to be able to continue in this world. Because AI, it's the future. It's not the future. It's today. It's this moment. And tomorrow it's going to be another world. The day after, it's something which I cannot expect. Tell me more about this and how this is a must. And this is to return us back to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi saying that I do not need any more graduates from the Faculty of Commerce. I need IT experts, because this is the future and those who are going to lead the Egyptian state in the coming period of time. Sir.
Thank you for this question, because that's very important, because as individuals, as citizens, we need to be agile as well. Technology is always altering the job market, so I need to equip myself with the right skill set to be able to be part of the job market. Also, I'd like to mention that we have so many initiatives regarding or upgrading the skills, upskilling the skills of so many individuals, even if they are not coming from technology background, to be part of the technology job market. And of course, you mentioned President Sisi. Actually, he mentioned so many times that digital transformation is a matter of national security. Information communication technology is part or one of the four main pillars of the Egyptian economy from 2024 to 2030. That the ICT, the agriculture sector, the manufacturing sector, and tourism sector. So actually, having and own the technology is the only way to have a resilient, competitive nation. So technology is becoming a matter of survival, and we have seen so many conflicts that are or actually are taking place nowadays and have took place over the last 5 years. We are seeing how the technology is making the difference, and without owning the technology, you would be at risk. So owning the technology, implementing the technology that you develop by your...
And I think also the core of the world trade between the United States and China, it's because of technology.
It's absolutely. Actually, the tariff war is not about anything but the technology. How to prevent China of owning the next generation of the telecom system. How I can prevent China for from the utilization of the high power processors, for handling them for actually not developing more advanced AI models, and so on and so forth. And this is actually because both countries, the superpowers, realizing totally only the technology is the only way to keep abreast of others or of what's happening, and
to have the upper hand.
Definitely, because if you own the technology, you'll have sound economy, and sound economy you mean that you are able to sell your product and service at premium prices, making your economy profitable, opening venues for more jobs, more projects. So without only the technology or the business as usual, the world does not belong to the 21st century anymore. Actually, that's why you are seeing companies now of a market cap of more than $3.5 trillion. A Chinese startup actually made losses to a giant chip manufacturer or the largest chip manufacturer in the United States. Actually, they made lose 560 billion US dollar in a single day. That's equivalent to the GDP of Sweden. To imagine how the technology could change and disrupt the whole world economically and socially, politically. And we are now witnessing the escalation in the Middle East, or we witnessed the escalation in East Europe, and definitely technology is the main driver for change, and the main driver for having more resilient economies, more resilient societies, and of course it's disrupting everything, and we are always actually discovering, we are redesigning, we are reinventing even our life based on the technological progression. And tomorrow we'll have another technology that nobody will know of, and definitely this will change our life again and again. So it's non-stop, so we need to be ready for such pace of technological development, because the disruption is even beyond our imagination as experts in this domain.
And sir, if I'm going to have only one example about what's going on about the oil prices, now I think there are so many countries who want to really depend on renewable energy and green energy, because if the oil prices are going to jump this way after only 1 or 2 days of the events which are the incidents which are taking place, if they were really depending on green hydrogen or on renewable energy, wind energy, solar energy and stuff like that, they are not going to find themselves in such a big problem. But now the case is totally different, since we were reading about this natural gas issue between Russia and the whole Europe since the start of the Russian-Ukrainian war, and today the oil prices jumping in just few hours, the Brent, and we found also Moody and S&P downgrading even big economies. I cannot separate politics from economy anymore.
Definitely, and you cannot separate technology out of politics or out of economy and out of society. The main or the foundation layer for the economy, for politics, for the society is always technology. That's why we need to have more focus on owning the technology, because this is a game changer actually.
A game changer. But here, sir, if you permit me, I want to focus on localizing this industry. Is it something which should depend only on my brilliant brains, as I am sure and proud, by the way, of having brilliant brains here in Egypt, and those who can shoulder this responsibility? Or it's also not a luxury, it's a must to cooperate together with our friendly nations, with our allies, whether from the area or from outside, to make sure that we are all working for the best interest of the planet, for having a win-win situation, because the know-how is very important.
It's vital actually, is the foundation of or will give you the ability to produce technology. If you don't know how, you cannot produce technology, you cannot create technology, you cannot employ technology in your own products and service and make a difference. That's why international cooperation is very important actually. You cannot do anything from scratch alone, even on the scale of the United States and China. That's why if you look at the tariff war that's taking place between China and the United States, both economies were hurt because of such a tariff war, because the U.S. chip maker or the largest chip maker is the U.S. is totally, or a huge part of their market is the Chinese market, and the electric vehicle developed in China, a major market is the European and US market. So this is without such cooperation, because we are living in a connected world, the economy is becoming globalized. Actually, there's no way to go back. That's why.
There's another key word, sir.
Sure.
Quantum.
Quantum computing, you mean? Or
quantum encryption, quantum infrastructure, quantum computing, you name it.
This is the future.
This is the future, but not every country is capable of reaching this. And because of that, I was asking this question, and I wanted you to use the word because it's now very important and also very scary, in my humble opinion.
Technologies always will be scary till we understand and to have a proper way of managing it. And this is the role of management of technologies. There's a science actually that I'm teaching. So so technology should be managed in a proper way for peace and development, not the other way around. Because technology is always having a bright side and dark side. And that's why we need always to capitalize on the bright side and to mitigate risk associated with the dark side, because risks will be there also. But if we are not able to use the technology to the maximum for peace and development of humankind, this will hurt us, all the humankind, not only a specific region or a specific country or specific industry. That's why you need to build your know-how. And the only way to build your know-how is by research and development. Because we have brilliant minds, definitely.
Build the know-how and protect your data.
And of course, protection of the know-how is if you are able to make such know-how in a format of a commercial utility, a product or a service, and then you can protect it. And the only way to keep protecting your product and service is to keep innovation, not by, of course, having patents or trademark filing, a trademark or industrial design is very important. But the only way, the only successful way to keep you ahead of competition is to keep innovating all the time. Because if you don't innovate, someone will do. And definitely, if someone will do, and with more speedy innovation, and of course time to market now is becoming very short, the cycle is becoming scary. So you need to keep on your toes all the time by keeping innovation. And the only way to keep innovation is to be able to produce science and apply the science in a way for a purpose. This is technology.
Practical.
This is
technology. I mean, it's not ink on paper. It's something to be implemented on the ground. And also, in my humble opinion, sir, is to believe into specialization. I mean, not everyone can master everything when it comes to anything, by the way, but here in technology, here there is the innovation in technology in the field of a very specific branch of agriculture, a very specific branch of light industry, a very specific branch of pharmaceutical industry, you name it. But it's not in general. Now every tiny specification is important, and it should enjoy the IT advanced level of implementing its elements on the ground. True or?
Definitely, because that's why we are doing a lot of mentorship to the startups here in Egypt. And the first thing that we are saying to them, you are great, you are doing a great job, you have fantastic technical capabilities, but don't be in love with your idea. Be in love with the problem that you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
And focus. be specific, be agile as you can. If you fail fast to start again. You need to understand the nature, the ecosystem of the problem that you are serving, or the problem that you are addressing, or the sector that you are serving. Having a great idea is not enough anymore.
Yeah.
Bringing the idea to the a format that,
and I think that
a paying customer.
Why Creativa centers are built to incubate such new ideas, innovative ideas, to make sure that they are not going to remain ideas, they are going to turn into projects on the ground. Well, sir, as usual, I enjoyed our discussion, and I'm going to leave you the promise to see you again in more episodes.
Always pleasure and honor, and looking forward for another episode. Thank you so much.
We were very much delighted and honored to have with us Engineer Mohamed Azzam, board member of the International Association of Management of Technology. Then we'll meet again same time on Nile TV International. Many thanks for watching, and now I'm going to leave you with the most important economic events which took place in the past 7 days. Many thanks for watching. Again, this was Nirmina Abdurrahman.
One of Egypt's most prominent industrial leaders confirmed that the next 10 years will witness an exceptional leap forward for Egypt toward its transformation into a major industrial power and even the new China of the Middle East and Africa. Businessman Ahmed al-Suwidi pointed out that growth indicators in sectors such as industry, agriculture, tourism and technology are on an upward trajectory, supported by ambitious government plans and unprecedented investment incentives. In light of the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities strategy for digital transformation by developing the level of services provided at archaeological sites and museums and enhancing the visitor experience, the installation and operation of self-service machines for purchasing tickets to the Saqqara archaeological site has been completed. The machines allow visitors, both Egyptians and tourists, to purchase tickets using bank cards, contributing to reducing congestion at traditional ticket booths and supporting the transition to providing smart and advanced services within the Egyptian tourist destination. Satellite images captured the ground leveling work and the commencement of construction work on the Ras Al Hikma International Airport, a key component of the new Ras Al Hikma city. The project falls within the Egyptian Emirati partnership, with funding exceeding $35 billion for the first phase, as part of a plan to transform the northwest coast into a global destination for tourism, housing and investment. A report issued by the Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics revealed that Egyptian exports to the BRICS group increased from $688 million to $905 million. The report indicated that the increase was a 31.5% increase from January to December 2024. Egyptian imports from BRICS countries also increased from $2.41 billion to $3.376 billion, a 40.1% increase during the same period since Egypt joined the group. Following the rise of smartphones, home appliances and ready-made garments, Egypt is rapidly becoming a regional center for the leather products industry, primarily leather clothing, shoes, bags and office furniture. Construction work has been completed on 100 new factories within the Rubeiki Leather City project as part of the third phase of the project. This project aims to maximize the use of local produced leather raw materials. Egypt is preparing to launch a new tender to select a global consultant to undertake the task of increasing the capacity of the electricity interconnection line with Jordan to reach 2,000 megawatts. The project aims to implement a plan to triple the capacity in 2 phases compared to the current capacity of 500 megawatts. Egypt is also seeking to enhance its interconnection capabilities with neighboring countries. It is currently implementing a massive interconnection project with Saudi Arabia with a total capacity of 3,000 megawatts in 2 phases.